This is the most insane story in American history. Local Minnesota reporter who lost her job because her husband said we should wait and withhold judgment until all the facts are in the George Floyd affair. He was the head of the police union. He also lost his job. BLM held multiple protests outside her home, bringing effigies of her and her husband and beating him to pieces in her driveway. They threatened to burn her city down. Then there was a second protest where a man running for Minnesota's state representative, endorsed by Tim Walz, threatened her neighbors, and the community. He won his election, but after having repeated confrontations with police where he speciously and baselessly claimed racism, he had to resign in disgrace when it came out that he had a history of vicious domestic assaults and that he didn't even live in the state of Minnesota. Couldn't make this up if I tried, folks.
This, as they frame it, this white police officer, kneeling on the neck of a black man. The optics were there. However, the body camera video shows a much different story. And if they would have released this, I just don't even think we'd be here having this conversation.
Is there any evidence that George Floyd was suffocated by Derek Chauvin?
No, there is much more evidence to support that in fact had nothing to do with it. You have George Floyd talking about how he can't breathe before Derek Chauvin arrives on scene. You have a black police officer who arrested George Floyd in Alex King. He's one of the 4 police officers put in prison. But nobody knows about, they think this is just a white cop, black suspect.
Is there actual evidence that Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd?
I would say the answer is no. There's no strangulation marks. There's no bruising on his neck. Why didn't they release the autopsy, which was done within 12 hours of him dying, to the public that showed all of this? He had an enlarged heart. He died of a heart attack. The first words on his autopsy are just that: cardiopulmonary arrest.
Yeah, so basically this is also the first time that the FBI is called into a case in Minneapolis within just a couple of hours. It happens that quickly. And you have George Floyd's autopsy complete within 12 hours of his death. Obviously, they're waiting for toxicology results and such, but for the most part, everything is complete within 12 hours. So instead of releasing that to the public, you have these meetings going on for nearly a week with prosecutors behind the scenes, and including representatives from the FBI there as well. But you have 3 times the lethal limit of fentanyl in George Floyd's system, along with methamphetamine. He clearly has a bad heart with 75% of blockage in one artery.
If there's no evidence that he murdered George Floyd, why was I at Fox scolded for saying that he didn't murder George Floyd, which I was. By the way, I said George Floyd seemed like he died of a drug OD, because that's what the autopsy seemed to say. Why is that not widely known? Why does nobody, even now, 5 years later, people have to be like, oh, he was killed by a white, and all these, try not to use the F word, but all these Republican office holders are like, no, he was murdered by a, you know what I mean? A white cop.
Yeah, I hear it.
That's
still
not true.
Yeah, it isn't. And there's a reason race never even came up in Derek Chauvin's trial. There's no evidence of race having anything to do with anything. But then it led to the documentary called The Fall of Minneapolis. And we tried to really bring out the truth that nobody heard in this case in that documentary. And more than 10 million people have seen it all around the world.
And her documentary is well done. I can personally attest to that. And it's on a channel called Alpha News on YouTube. And just a couple scroll downs and you will see the fall of Minneapolis. If you want to be informed, if you want to be educated about this, you need to watch this documentary.
Well, the trial in and of itself is really quite something. You have the police training, the maximal restraint technique that the officers were using that day. That was not allowed in trial. Judge Cahill did not allow that in Chauvin's trial.
Can you explain what that is?
So, interestingly enough, these 2 pages of the manual go offline 2 days
manual?
after the incident. They disappear.
But what we train is using one arm or two arm to do a neck restraint.
And how does this differ?
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
Mayor, he comes out about 24 hours later and says, and by the way, this is a technique not trained by the MPD.
Shortly after the death, that the restraint technique the police officers used on George Floyd was not taught to them.
Correct.
And that's not true.
Yeah, these pages go missing of the manual.
Which explain the technique.
And exactly. And I said into my newsroom at the time, this is really quite something. They are trying to cover this up. We should really be doing a story about this. We even had reporters using Black Lives Matter as hashtags in their reporting.
Not really.
Really. And that was allowed.
So the public doesn't get to know that the restraint technique that the police officers, not just Derek Chauvin, but the other 3, used against this berserk drug addict, convicted felon, that was a technique that they learned at the police academy and that was
trained for decades.
For decades.
Yeah, it'd been around we found manuals with the MRT in the 90s. This is also something else that was never talked about. The ambulance went to the wrong address, which is why there is such a long, typically an ambulance would be there in about 90 seconds at the most. There's, a fire station that close. They went to the wrong address. And you see this on the body camera footage that one of the paramedics is almost joking around with Thomas Lane going, gosh, we didn't know where you guys were. We went to the wrong place. That's why it took us so long. And there's a very problematic EMS response to all of this. That is also not allowed to be discussed in Chauvin's trial either.
What's the problematic EMS response?
The fact that they go to the wrong address. They also are hooking George Floyd up to get air or to breathe, and the machine itself is not plugged in the ambulance. There has been...
The machine is not plugged in?
Yes. He also stuffs some, what you think are drugs in his mouth during their interaction. And they're asking him, what are you on? What did you take? And, he's very combative, but they think it's more of something is going on medically. They try to get him into the squad car. It's George Floyd himself who asks to be laid on the ground. Many people don't know that.
Yeah.
He asks to be laid on the ground himself. And this is just this hold that they do. But we quickly find out, again, it's within 12 hours, that in his autopsy, you can see that he's been described to us as a ticking time bomb, sadly, George Floyd. He has this tumor, a paraganglioma, that more testing isn't done on that. And that can lead to, in his hip, a large tumor. And that can lead to death when people are in that hyped state. Is the subject of an undercover drug investigation, George Floyd. Again, something people had no idea. Almost exactly a year prior. And police have an interaction with him, and he has an overdose. It's almost a carbon copy of the interaction. Don't shoot me. He's very resistant.
Is this on
saying,
video?
I can't breathe. Yes, it's all on video.
Your fucking hands off right now.
During the time, I couldn't see his hands. He was moving them out. We found out later he's probably eating dope.
Hey, man. Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got.
My mama, man. Mama, man. My mama, man, please, man.
Come on, lean back.
I'm not gonna do anything more. I just lost my mom, man.
Step on the face away.
Go ahead and undo your seatbelt.
Don't shoot me, man. Please, I don't want to get shot.
I don't plan on shooting you. I'm just saying, just take your time.
Step on the face away.
Okay, officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not gonna shoot you. Step on the face away.
I'm looking out of eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
George Floyd spent most of his life in and out of prison. He was a drug addict. He appeared in a porn film. It's too perfect. He was at one point convicted of armed robbery where he stuck a gun in the belly of a pregnant woman.
And
He was the suspect in a couple of rapes in Minnesota, where that evidence has mysteriously disappeared.
Okay, so your husband had to leave after 32 years as a police officer because he said, let's wait for the evidence before deciding. Okay. I can see that happening in the hysteria and the race mobs that formed after George Floyd OD'd on fentanyl. But why would you be punished for that?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. My husband appeared on stage with President Trump. This was back in 2019 when he was running for re-election, and that really became an issue with the station as well.
That your husband liked Trump.
Correct.
So then you said the mob came. What does that mean?
Well, it really just means the mob came. They
very literal.
Yeah,
okay.
They showed up to the station. They held a protest demanding that I be fired
For being married to a cop.
Right. Yes. And then they showed up at our home 4 different times. We had protests that summer of 2020.
At your home?
Yes. One sponsored by Black Lives Matter. They showed up with piñata effigies of myself and my husband.
she's not kidding, y'all. Look at this. These people actually showed up to her house with these effigies.
And beat us in our driveway.
Can you imagine an angry mob showing up to your house with effigies of you and your husband or you and your wife and beating them to pieces in your driveway as they all cheer on and shout obscenities at you?
Drink your fucking beer, but pay your fucking rent, you ugly bitch!
I've never felt so violated but before. They took a knee around our flag, our American flag. If you were black, you were allowed to kneel in our front yard. And if you were white, you had to look on as they were shouting. I mean, they literally brought a bullhorn. They were shouting swear words at our neighborhood kids, threatening to burn the city down where we lived.
It's traumatizing to come out here and have to fucking say our relatives' names, be here with us no more. So fuck you for laughing because this shit ain't no fucking joke. And my little brown girl that was over there, it's only a matter of time until you guys fuck her up too. Y'all laughing like we want to burn this city down, motherfucker.
The building's beginning to collapse. The building is collapsing. The building just exploded. Oh my God.
That house down there, this house can look like that. Let one more black man or brown man be killed. We're coming. And don't forget, all these bougie ass fucking houses are built on native fucking land. That you guys need to fucking pay rent for. Because this is stolen fucking land. Pay the fuck up! Drink your fucking beer, but pay your fucking rent, you ugly
He was
bitch!
arrested. Nothing happened that day. Yeah, this was the largest. I mean, it was more than 100 people paid to, to be there that day. They had lunch provided. I mean, this is just completely insane.
Who do you think paid for it?
Well, Black Lives Matter was involved. And this is what I thought was interesting as a reporter. So keep in mind, I was still working at WCCO at the time, but I called my news director and I said, the man leading this protest, he's running to be a state rep, and he's endorsed by Walz and the Democratic Party.
And that man was former Representative John Thompson.
Yeah, I think that we should probably cover this.
Did a story on this.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I saw the protest on
This is all
on the
coming
news
back
by you.
to me.
Yes.
Was that guy elected state rep?
He was elected.
And here is the violent, vicious criminal that the good people of Minnesota elected. This is the former Representative John Thompson.
Skin I'm in. I'm a black man being terrorized by this fucking Klansman right here. We are terrorized by the Grand Wizard. Y'all got the Grand Wizard living in your goddamn neighborhood. All the Klan exists in Hugo, Minnesota, and it's right here. Don't run now. Don't run now, racist white people. I'm here. Oh yeah, we pull up. We pull the fuck up. And we're here. Come on over here with your Blue Lives Matter sign. Blue Lives ain't shit. And if people in Hugo don't support black people, fuck Hugo, Minnesota. I meant to say that.
And if you think that's bad, this hateful guy standing outside your house on a bullhorn, threatening you, threatening your family, threatening your neighborhood, threatening white people, threatening everyone around him with a violent mob at his back, cheering for you to be destroyed, and we literally know what they're capable of. This guy actually, he gets worse. The story actually degenerates from here. This is incredible.
The House will come to order.
Video shows State Representative John Thompson in his seat on the House floor at 5:50 p.m. Sunday for the state of the state. Just a half hour earlier, St. Paul police say the lawmaker was causing a much different scene. It started when police say they stopped a woman for erratic driving and expired tabs at this East Side intersection Sunday. Officers say they smelled marijuana. More officers arrived, and so did Thompson, saying the woman was his daughter. It turned ugly fast, St. Paul Police Chief Todd Axtell wrote, blasting Thompson in a Monday Facebook post. Axtell said Thompson tried to intimidate and bully officers. The chief said Thompson misused his position by handing out business cards to officers while accusing them of racism. To reduce tensions, police say they let the woman leave with Thompson and are asking the city attorney to charge her with a gross misdemeanor for DWI test refusal. Thompson does not face charges, though police say the case is open. Axtell now wants the lawmaker to let body camera video of the scene be made public. State law only allows for a release in some situations, if the subject asks for it, or to dispel rumor or unrest.
Why'd you pull me over again?
Police used that provision to release video last summer when Thompson accused an officer of racially profiling him during a stop that revealed the lawmaker had a Wisconsin driver's license. That led to the discovery of past domestic violence allegations against
Thompson for not having a front license plate and for the way he took off.
I'm actually the current state representative in this district right here, man. If that makes me different.
With a Wisconsin license?
Yeah, with a Wisconsin license. I'm State Representative John Thompson.
Okay.
When the officer comes back nearly 15 minutes later, he apologizes.
Sorry, it took a little long, but so there's your license and my card. You're suspended in Minnesota?
No.
That's what the computer says?
Thompson asks why he pulled him over again and then accuses the officer of racial profiling.
Look me dead in the face and I got a ticket for driving while black. You pulled me over because you saw a black face in this car, brother.
The exchange continues.
Stop racially profiling black men in their cars, sir. Stop doing that.
Profiling.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
St. Paul Police Chief Todd Axtell said on Facebook the stop had nothing to do with the driver's race and that Thompson owes the sergeant an apology. Thompson called it a pretextual stop in a statement that disproportionately targets non-whites. And in the video, you won't see the officer do anything that isn't by the book.
But controversy has followed Thompson. The latest goes back to domestic assault cases from 2003 to 2009. Some of those assaults took place in the presence of young children. In one case out of Superior, Wisconsin in October 2003, Thompson was arrested after he allegedly struck his girlfriend in the face with open and closed fist. The woman's 5-year-old daughter witnessed the assault. Thompson eventually pled guilty in Douglas County, Wisconsin, to a reduced charge of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. In 2004, Thompson allegedly attacked the same girlfriend, who said that during a fight, he broke a phone cord and put both hands around her neck and began choking her.
And I called my news director and I said, I think this is newsworthy. You will not even believe what happened. And I was told that...
He was a racist, too, that guy.
Yes. But I was told that that phone call showed my bias. How dare I think that that's a news story? You're so biased.
They said that to you at the station?
Mm-hmm. And so it would be days before they actually even reported on the protest, before they had no choice but to...
At their own employee's house?
Correct.
a guy running for state house saying racist, anti-white things. I remember this now. Wow. I totally forgot this. That was you.
That was me.